What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rimworld. We are now 50% through, actually, a little more than 50% through the week. Thank God. My God, it's been a long week. Actually, I shouldn't say that, man. It's not really been a long week. It's just been a tiring week. I haven't really been getting good sleep lately. Not because there's like stuff going on or anything. I've just been, I've just been stupid and staying up till like 1 o'clock. And me being the maximum achiever, what I usually do is I go to bed at like 1 o'clock, quarter after one, wake up at like 7:05, 7:10, and don't make it into work until about 9 when I'm supposed to technically be there at 8. So, so I mean, I don't. That not only says a bunch about how I am right now in terms of work ethic, but that also says a lot about my leadership, I guess. So, anyway, it's kind of funny to think about, man. I mean, I do obviously do my job. I serve. Uh, I don't want to fluff myself or anything, but I mean, I do serve some pretty important roles over there. So, I mean, I don't want to say that my leadership necessarily gives me, more slack than others, but in terms of like little stuff like that, I think they kind of do, or at least they just kind of don't care. I think it's a mixture of giving me slack and just the remaining 50% just not caring. Because I mean, obviously they've got their own issues too to deal with. So anyway, let's see stuff to talk. Oh, I meant to mention this last night, or in my last video. I mean, whenever that was, I think that was Tuesday night, wasn't it? Um, so there's been some interesting things going on in our country, if not the world. One such thing, and obviously it goes without saying that I don't have to say that, but bear with me, okay? It's my segue. Um, for any of you guys that happen to look at that website called flightradar24.com, I mean, they've got a couple different variations of that site, but the one I use is flightradar24.com. That's flight radar and then the number 24.com. I look at that and I look at this other one. I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but it's like marine traffic something.com, I think maybe. It's basically okay. So Flight Radar 24 is the one where you can actually see um, aircraft that's currently en route as long as they have their transponders, I guess, turned on. And the marine traffic website is essentially for ships, okay? Like, boats and stuff. Well, the reason I said earlier that there's been some interesting things going on in the world and or country is that here this week I've been kind of watching some of the air traffic in our country, and I'm telling you, I think now maybe I'm being a conspiracy theorist or some sort of shit like that, but judging by the activity I've been seeing this week by our armed forces, I think there's some sort of weird shit going on. And let me explain. So this all kind of started Monday/Tuesday. I was on that Flight Radar website, just kind of, burning some time because I do that a lot in my office, man. I'll look at shit like, the Flight Radar and, certain kinds of news websites and shit just to see how fucked up the world's getting today, you know? And when I look at Flight Radar, I always take a keen interest of the military types of aircraft that I can sometimes see. And also, too, I mean, I've said this before on my videos and stuff, but I'm a definite Trump supporter, and so whenever he has a rally, I always try to find his, the whole Trump Force One jet that he flies around on, and just kind of watch it. It's just kind of fun. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a little neurotic or something, but whenever I look at that Flight Radar 24 website, though, I always try to pay attention to the military aircraft, and obviously there's been a lot of stuff like that over there in Ukraine and uh, the Middle East in general, as well as particularly around Israel and Iran and stuff. Now, most of the time, whenever there's actual serious shit going on, military aircraft, from what little I understand about it, I don't think they have their transponders turned on or configured in such a way that it would wind up revealing to the enemy, details about their ongoing routes and stuff, obviously. However, with that being said, there's different kinds of mission. What's the word that or way I'm trying to describe this? There's different kinds of missions, okay? Some missions would be classified, top secret, hey, don't advertise us, blah, blah, blah. But then there's other missions where they won't really explain what they're doing, but you can still somewhat suss things out by looking at things like Flight Radar 24 or that marine traffic website. And here's where this all kind of comes around. So this week I was watching that kind of stuff, and when I was doing my thing where I'm looking up, trying to find Trump's jet and stuff, I noticed a couple of things that I felt were pretty damned interesting. And this happened, I think this was Tuesday when I kind of perked my ears up to all of this. Over there on the East Coast, there is some weird shit going on. Now, I don't know what it is, okay, obviously, but the reason I'm saying that there's some weird shit going on is because of the types of activity that I've seen on the East Coast and the types of aircraft that have been flying along the coast, as well as the ships that I've noticed from that marine traffic website. So, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, Tuesday night, something like that, I noticed a Lockheed CP 140 Aurora, which apparently came from Canada. And from what little research I've done about this type of particular aircraft, you can use these types of aircraft for sub reconnaissance and maritime intelligence, as well as what they refer to as command and control. I don't know what the fuck command and control is, but I'm assuming it's got something to do with essentially relaying strategic types of metrics and whatnot to various parties that may or may not be on the ground, as you're doing operations. That's kind of the way I interpret that. But I saw that Aurora aircraft, and by the way, it's not something super. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it's anything super advanced or something like that. It's just one of those kinds of aircraft that they, I guess, they load up a bunch of shit in, like some fancy electronic equipment, radar stuff, whatever. But the CP-140 Aurora, I saw making various circular patterns off of the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina. And that same day, I was noticing things like Boeing P-8A Poseidons, and that one, put that in the back of your mind for a second, because I'm going to come back to that. But I saw the P-8A Poseidons. I saw about two or three of them flying all along the East Coast. There was one that was making routes down there, off the coast of northern Florida, and about two further north, with one being around South Carolina off the coast, and the third one being closer to New Jersey. So those were flying. I saw some Lockheed Martin HC-130J Hercules planes flying around, and this particular one that I saw, at least as far as that website is concerned, made it sound as if it was Coast Guard. And I guess from what little I understand about those things, those can be used as Coast Guard search and rescue, personnel recovery, and more of that command and control type stuff. And again, with this plane as well, it was making these weird patterns that seemed to imply that they were looking for something. Okay. And then amongst all of that kind of stuff, there were a few strato tankers, KC 135R strato tankers. It's a Boeing airplane that they use primarily for refueling. Uh, I saw a Lockheed Martin HC 130J Combat King 2, and that again is another one of those types of command and control things. But I also think those things can be retrofit to be gunships. Um, Amongst all of that, there were these things called Boeing KC 46A Pegasuses. Try to say that 5 times fast. And those also are refuelers. But then I also saw some stuff like a Lockheed C5M Super Galaxy. And I'll save you the gory details because there's a bunch of shit, man. And this was just in one day. And there was also this other thing too. This thing really drove home the possibility that something weird was going on because there was this other plane. Um, what was it? It was like it was another one of those kinds of planes that didn't really look like it would be super fancy, but it was dual prop, and I think it was called a what was it? I could look it up. Maybe I'll try to get that information to you in my next episode. But it was a kind of plane that they specifically use for special operations command and control. And then there was another plane that was a little more fancy. It was like on the grade of something like a big jet, something kind of like uh, bigger than the Aurora, and I can't remember what it was. But it was another command and control type of thing that you would expect the president to be in to relay orders back and forth to places like NORAD. I mean, it was one of those kinds of things, that only a president would be flying around in. Because you could just see the plane, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it was exactly one of those kinds of things. And uh, another thing that was flying around, and this thing was not only I caught one of these flying around off the coast on the East Coast, but I also saw one flying around uh, closer to the heartlands or the Rust Belt areas. AWACS, okay? And we all know what AWACS is, or at least I'm assuming most of us do, but if you don't, it's basically the way in which fighter jets can basically pinpoint targets and stuff. It's like a mobile type of radar system. And it provides targeting mechanisms and stuff like that. So anyway, all of this was all of this was fucking flying around, okay? And back to the Poseidon thing, okay? The Boeing P-8A Poseidon, it's a freaking sub hunter. To make a long story short here, either there was some sort of massive effort to find a freaking enemy sub that's been stalking our east coast, or else they were performing some sort of search and rescue operation. Now, I visit these websites all the time, and I'll get to the marine traffic stuff that I saw here in a second. But I visit all of both of these websites all the time. I know what a normal day in the office is whenever it comes to what you see on these websites, and you never ever see this type of shit on there. Never. Now, one thing you do see a lot of are these trainer jets, T-38s. There's a lot of those damn things that fly out of Texas, and sometimes you can see some of those popping up here and there every once in a while across the country. And all that shit is just, Air Force cadets and stuff going up and learning how to fly fighter jets and stuff. That shit happens all the time. There's usually a lot of stuff that happens over there by Baja, California, and it's a mixture of things like Coast Guard and various arms of the military performing patrols along the border right there. But it's also got a lot to do with the Navy SEALs, because I think they train out of San Diego or something like that, and they've also got a base or something that I think is a little further south. But I think it's right by the border, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, the point is that some of that stuff that you see out there, because every once in a while, if you look on that flight radar website, you can sometimes see Ospreys flying around out there, Sikorsky helicopters, and a lot of Coast Guard activity sometimes. So a lot of that stuff that you can sometimes see out there is normal, and I see that shit on there all the time. But the stuff that I've been seeing here these past couple days along the East Coast, from basically New York all the way down to Florida, as well as some stuff that I'm seeing floating around here and there over the coast or over the Gulf. There's something weird fucking going on, man. I don't know what it is. They're obviously not saying much, and I posted about this on a website that I visit a lot. Uh, it's a kind of a pro-Trump forum, and I mean, some of the stuff that gets posted on there is 9 times out of 10 it's just stupid bullshit. But every once in a while, though, you can kind of get a diamond in the rough type of topic on there. And every once in a while, I'll post out there about stuff. And this was one of those kinds of things that I posted about. And somebody apparently came up with an article that discussed how apparently Putin over in Russia decided to conduct a surprise nuclear training exercise. And so the word on the street is that it had something to do with that. Now, if that were the case, you would expect both coasts, as well as every border that we have, to probably have some sort of fortification of our military arms. But the thing is that I've only been seeing this activity on our East Coast. I haven't really been seeing anything that even comes remotely close over there on the West Coast or anywhere else. But it's just really been strange because there's been a lot of weird shit that's been going on over there on the East Coast, specifically focused on patrolling the coast with aircraft and ships that you would expect to have the capability to do things like identify submarines and take them out basically. And the reason I'm saying taking them out is because with the marine traffic website, it's kind of the same deal, only with ships. Okay, and one thing that I've seen over there on the East Coast, I think right on the border between, if I remember right, I think it's North Carolina and South Carolina. There is a massive fleet that's just kind of stationed right there off the coast, about maybe, I don't know, 40 or 50 miles off the coast. I mean, a massive fleet. I haven't seen any aircraft carriers, but I've seen about 7 or 8 different frigate slash destroyer class ships, and I'm talking about massive firepower, man. These are the kinds of ships that you would expect to have the capacity to take out some submarines, as well as some other, like, you know enemy ships and stuff, with things like missile defense systems and charges and stuff. And today, last I checked, there were about 6 of them that were just kind of hanging out over there, all kind of in a cluster. Now, the thing with the marine traffic website is that sometimes you'll see identifiers of the ship that you're clicking on, and then there's other times where you'll see, like, the reading that comes up basically like an ID code is sometimes not applicable, or not available, I mean. So amongst the 6 or 7 different frigate slash destroyer class types of ships that I was seeing in this cluster, there were about 2 or 3 unidentified ships as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of those was probably an aircraft carrier. And further south, down there to towards Florida, as well as off the coast of Georgia, not only were there a couple of those same kinds of ships patrolling the coast, but I also saw a sub for a while go out of Cape Canaveral, and it was literally just kind of, I guess it was kind of in like a coast out of the docks, I guess. And then at some point it just disappeared from the marine traffic website, and I thought that was kind of interesting and telling, because that tells you right there that there's at least 1 or 2 submarines that are out there, doing whatever it is that they do. And that Poseidon sub hunter, those airplanes, again, I saw about 2 or 3 of them flying around doing coastal patrols. When the thing about the the flight radar website is that you can see the flight path. Okay, all of these planes were flying in circular patterns along the coast. All of them, especially those Poseidon things. Oh, and at one point there was also even a UAV that was doing the same kinds of patrols, and that one was up there towards New Jersey. I can't remember what kind of UAV it was. I think it was one of those things that you see being used half the time over there in Ukraine, because the United States has at least 2 bases over there. One's over there in Cyprus, I think, and then another one is over there on the Ukrainian coast, I think. And sometimes if you look on the flight radar website over there in that area, sometimes you can see this same type of UAV being flown around over there. Well, one of those kinds of UAVs was making the same kinds of patrols right off the coast of New Jersey. And what they were doing, they were all of these interesting, aircraft were doing. They were all going out to the coast or over the coast by about maybe 40, 50 miles or something like that. And they were just flying in big giant circles. Okay. Now, if they were doing that, first of all, the Boeing PAA Poseidon, or the Sub Hunter aircraft, that tells me that they're flying in some sort of patrol in order to scan the coastal and or the waters and stuff, to see, I guess, if there's some sort of thing underneath the water like a sub. Because I know that those things can do that. The CP-140 Aurora by Lockheed Martin, those things can be equipped to be able to do that, as well as maritime intelligence, which basically means that they have the capacity to kind of scan things like radio signals and things like that. And there was some sort of thing, I think it was called an Orion, if I remember right, that can also be retrofit with that type of intelligence equipment that at one point was also making those kinds of trips out there to the coast as well. So long story short, and by the way, one of the people that chimed in on one of the posts that I made about this, apparently that person lived in, or has their residence, I guess, is in either New York City or possibly even New Jersey, and they chimed in and they said that they had noticed a bunch of military helicopters flying around. Now, all of this is just mostly anecdotal. I mean, who knows really if that flight radar and or that marine traffic website is really as truthful as it seems. But I think it's pretty truthful, man, and I really think that there's something weird at least Tuesday and or tonight, because I checked on that kind of stuff today too, and it was the same kind of stuff. There was just a bunch of weird shit going on out there on the coast. And again, it's only the East Coast. It's not the West Coast for some reason. So I kind of think my suspicion is that either they're performing. I guess it's possible that they're just performing some sort of training exercise. I guess. The thing though is that I've seen training exercises on those websites, and they never look. They never have this level of like armed forces resources like this and activity. I mean, this shit just makes it look like they're trying to anticipate something, or searching for something. But barring the possibility that it's not some sort of stupid training exercise, my suspicion is that either A, they're looking for something, meaning like maybe one of our subs wound up having an accident or something. I don't know. But maybe they're doing a search and rescue type of thing, some sort of like top secret type of search and rescue type of thing, or B, they're they've got reasons to suspect that we could have some sort of enemy submarine or something patrolling our coast. Now, with all this being said, man, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist. I don't usually jump on those bandwagons because 9 times out of 10 it's just a bunch of bullshit. But with this in particular, if these websites are true and what we're seeing is actually honest information coming from the websites, given the type of aircraft and ships that I'm seeing and the level of activity that I'm seeing take place, I'm telling you, man, there's something weird going on. And I don't know if it has anything to do with that sporadic Putin nuclear training exercise that they executed, but I just keep coming back to the idea that if it was anything to do with that, then you'd see this type of activity all across the entire country. You wouldn't see it just on the East Coast. So anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know that, man, because I thought that was really interesting, and I think it's ongoing. Now, there's also some other stuff that's going on too, from what little I understand. I know that there's various there's various bases across the country that have T-38s flying around in the air. Now, most of the time, I wouldn't really think much of that because, like I said, T-38s are just training aircraft. The one thing that stands out about those is the number that I'm seeing, though. Now, even down there in Texas, you usually see a pretty good number of those things flying around in the air. So it takes a lot for me to suspect that something weird's going on. But here's the thing. I'm seeing earlier today, I think I counted about 10 T-38s flying around down there in Texas. I saw about 3 flying around over there at Bakersfield, California. Further north in California, I think it was about 2 more with various strato tankers flying with them. Over there towards Colorado Springs, I saw about 2 or 3 uh, tanker jets flying around, and I think there was at least one T-38. Up there in Canada, I've seen a couple different kinds of jets. I can't remember what they are because they were I think Canadian. Uh, but earlier today in the Gulf, I saw 4. Fuck, what are they? I think they were E5s or something like that. Some sort of E5. If I remember right, it's some sort of hypersonic uh, light jet fighter. Something E5. Again, I've logged some of the stuff, and I don't have all the documentation that I logged in front of me. Not that I'm a geek like this, but it's just that, this seemed all too kind of weird, and I was trying to keep track of all of these things that I was seeing. But I think there were an E5 or something like that. Last night, flying across the state of Alabama, I saw at least two Chinooks, two Blackhawks, and one Lakota flying all in a line, and that was right before that special operations airplane landed in one of the bases in, I think, the Panhandle of Florida, that I think has, like, what is it, the 931st Special Operations something something. It's basically the special operations equivalent to aircraft stuff, okay, like counterintelligence and shit like that. But that's where that special operations plane landed. Anyway, long story short, man, I'm going to wrap this up. Long story short is that there is just something weird going on. It could just be the National Guard, because I've heard on the radio that the National Guard is doing some exercises. But that wouldn't really explain, in my opinion, all the shit that's going on over there on the East Coast. And usually I don't perk my ears up to T-38s flying around, but there is a shit ton of them flying around lately. And I guess the portrait that I'm kind of building up in my mind is that someone somewhere has told our armed forces to get ready for something. And so they're getting all their fucking T-38 dudes up there, the cadets and everything. All right, dudes, hurry up and learn how to fly a fucking fighter jet or something, you know? And they're getting all the refueler pilots out there training and stuff. I paranoid that there's just something going on. Someone somewhere in DC is raising some alarms and telling everyone to basically just be prepared for something. And those Poseidons and everything that's out there on the East Coast are doing sorties to make sure that nothing stupid's going on underwater and stuff. It's just interesting. Let's just leave it at that. And if you're into those kinds of things, definitely check out flightradar24.com and the maritime or marine traffic website that shows basically, active ships in the water across the globe. And it's really just interesting. It's fun to kind of use deductive reasoning to assess what might or might not be going on whenever you're looking at all that shit. And like I said, man, I've just never seen this kind of activity going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if in a couple days or something we learn about something that might be taking place. So anyway, thought I'd let you guys know about that and how that's been kind of going on lately in my life. So let's do this, man. And this is going to be kind of a short episode. I didn't really want to play tonight, but I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about some of that stuff that I noticed on those websites, and at least maybe get an hour in. So okay, here we are. Uh, okay, so we've got some people that are kind of stressing out, I guess. Ellie and Abby, and a lot of this is because of that stupid psychic drone that we're dealing with right now with the females. Pin's not enclosed because we're still working on the fence or the wall stuff. So we'll get that done. Hunter lacks weapon. I guess it's mags. See, that's one thing I'm wanting to do too, is make some more firearms. And I think I'm in the process of doing some of that stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Or I might have just started it. Okay, I changed the priority there, so I'm hoping that Omar gets working on that. And I thought I ordered a charge rifle too, or bought one from one of the traders, but if I did, I don't know where it might be. Chances are it might be out here somewhere. I'll waste time looking for it. They'll probably wind up bringing it in at some point if it is out there somewhere. But I guess Mags needs a firearm, so we'll get that fixed at some point. So I think for the most part, man, this is just going to boil down to getting through winter and getting through maybe this psychic drone crap. I hate it when this crap happens too, by the way. People throw tantrums and shit and break shit. Okay, let's see what this mission is. Some of these rewards have been pathetic lately. Hear about any of that stuff. Don't need it. Hey guys, are you done pitching your fits? Look at them. Jesus. You guys go to bed. It's so annoying. Now, some of the wall stuff, I'm going to have to be kind of patient about because we're kind of depending on these stupid moisture pumps. I hate these effing things, man. They just take so long. I should make a couple more. Remember my theory. Conduit explosion. Okay? Don't be surprised if one of those happens at some point here in a second. I'm gonna try to take care of that here. Get my little planner tool out. Okay. Let me see, how am I gonna do this? I think I'll start planning from up here. Ooh, this could be good. Yeah, gotta pause it for this. Sometimes these missions are pretty awesome. Fortunately, this one actually sucks. Damn it. I don't need any of this stuff, man. I mean, all of it's useful stuff, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to prioritize on things that I really, really want, you know, like those whatchamacallums, these things. Vanometric power cell, either that or some more of these things, these psychic emanators. Excuse me. Those things are actually pretty awesome. Okay, we got, let me see here. Alright, so the next one down is a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll put wood on there, which I freaking hate. That's one thing about this game I can't stand, is how you can make those bridges and stuff, but you can't put anything, I guess, heavier than wood on it. But the good news, though, man, is that we're basically done with the wall. It's pretty awesome. We're gonna have to come up with something creative right here, though. In fact, I think what I'm gonna do here, let me go ahead and deconstruct that and just kind of retrofit some plasteel wall. Assuming this is probably still mud, right? Yeah. Some marks. This thing annoy the hell out of me. not mean to remove those, though. Oh well. Come back to it. This. Something's crap again. Try to start from here. Okay, move my screen, damn it. It's not moving. This pisses me off. Maybe you decide to move. So I need to screw up something. I think there's supposed to be a block right here. Right? Sorry for being anal about this, man. I know this probably isn't fun to watch and stuff, but I can't help it. It's just the way I'm wired. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. Oh. Okay. No, I think I... Okay, I see what's happened here. Duh. Let's get this another shot here. Here it's a wall of 4, then 2. Wall of 4, and then 2. Okay, we need to get rid of this. In fact, I think we'll just get rid of all this. That's right. Okay, I think I'm on track now. So here's the 9. Okay. Alright, I think I've got it now. So we need to leave these where they are. Remove everything else though. Steel. Bulk goods. Ooh. Known as the Sinleth Import Company. Yes, man. Alright, what do we got here? Thick cloth. A few different things. That's good. How are we looking on medicine? 479, so we're doing okay on that. Go ahead and take the steel. Blast steel. Double strand bedroll. It's kind of interesting. I'm tempted to buy that. Not that I need it, but it'd be kind of neat to have. Let me see. What else? What else? What else? Caribou meat. Take some of that. So we only have female bisons, I guess? I didn't realize that. I'm gonna have to remember that. Should I sell some of my horses? I should, but I'm not going to. Just gonna try to balance everything with some textiles. Let's see. 1,000. That alone. Well, skin. Panthera. Is that how you pronounce that? Panthera. I sell that much. Let's get rid of some cloth. 2861. Agave fruit. Did I get that? Yeah, why not? That and chocolate. Chocolate. I had to put the air on tonight because I've had the furnace on for the past few days now. Today it wound up reaching up to about, I think, what was it? I think it might have been around 80 something, low 80s. And outside right now, I think it's maybe upper 60s. And inside though, it was at least close to about 75. And of course, you've got all the stuff in your house, that generates that heat, like the compressor on the fridge and all the lights and stuff like that, and not to mention the shower. So in a way, I'm somebody who loves to have a cold house. I cannot stand hot homes. 2837. Let me see here. I'm looking forward to sleep tonight though, because past couple nights it's been a little hot in the bed. Hoping that I can get some good sleep, because that's been a kind of a problem lately. Is I just haven't been sleeping very well. And I was sore today from the last workout that I had. I think it was on Monday, and I worked out today despite that. And so, needless to say, man, I am dead today or tonight. That's one of the biggest reasons it's going to be kind of a short episode tonight, man. I'm just exhausted. All right, all right, all right, all right. They are on it. Let's see here. I'm just kind of sitting here looking at these. I want to see what else is possible on those. I think it's just wood, because you can't put plasteel on there. Why on earth you'd ever want to make a silver or jade wall? It'd be kind of weird. It's wood. Better than nothing, you know. Ooh, really? Okay. There's Mags's rifle. Let's find Mags. Where is she? There she is. Good deal. I think tonight I'm gonna make a pizza. It sounds really good. I'm hungry. Get him, Abigail. There's no animals to train. I think this weekend what I'm going to try to focus on is beginning the work with the uranium slug turrets and or the various rooms that I'm going to start making in here. Inside of here. And, well, actually, you know what? I keep forgetting about these two things. That as well as just the stupid moisture pumps. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to work on, man. I know that if I ever figure out a way, though, to do the stuff that I want to do in these new spaces, I'll be able to probably find a way to make those buildings fit into the new model here. Once this gets done, man, that's basically it, I think, right? Well, still got this crap. Yeah, still got that. These, though, I don't think we need these. Do we? Oh, there's still mud right there. Okay. Leave them. Getting a little concerned, though, because well, I think that was probably because of the eclipse. Right, he's a caravan, blah, blah, blah. Shaman merchant. I don't know if it's really worth messing with. Guess we can give it a shot. There's not much here, man. Love to get my hands on some more Glitter World, though. Some Blasteel at least. Silver. Fuck, I don't know. It's around here somewhere. Hey, it's nice to have Gab back in reality. She usually doesn't wig out, man. She's usually pretty awesome. God. Is everybody always fighting, man? Can't we all just get along? Oh, they're a combat supplier. Okay. Oh, it's 23 in here. Okay, hold on a second. I think we need to adjust this. It's getting a little nippy in here. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. Bump it up. There she is. Foam shells, medicine. Oh, what's this? This is interesting. Intense UV sensitivity. I saw vulnerable and mistook that for invulnerable. Mono sword. Any charge rifles? They do not. But we've got one around here somewhere, apparently. I've got on the shelf. I need to go look. Alright, well, sorry guys, not interested. Yeah, there it is. Or is that it? No, that's... I thought I had... I think there's one probably outside somewhere or something. I don't know where, but... Don't worry about it right now. Ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if any of my viewers here listen to Clyde Lewis, Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. He has a show on, though, every night at basically 10 o'clock. It's more, he usually comes online at around like 10:15. But if you look up Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, he streams his broadcast out. So if you have like a website or something that you stream either podcasts with or listen to radio through, make sure to give Clyde Lewis a try. Some of his discussions can get pretty interesting sometimes. He's usually like talking about things about the paranormal and stuff like that, but sometimes he wades into politics, and so sometimes it's funny to listen to him go on his political tirades sometimes because he can't stand Kamala. And in his defense, I don't really think he likes Trump either. But the funny thing about him though is that he can usually see the common sense in Trump versus the stuff that he sees with the left, and so he's always ragging on the left. He can get kind of funny sometimes, but whenever he's not talking about politics stuff or political stuff, he's the kind of guy that talks sometimes about like UFOs or ghosts and stuff like that, and it can get pretty interesting sometimes to listen to. He one of his mentors, I guess, was that guy that did the Coast to Coast. Um, what was his name? He was another dude that uh, was kind of into paranormal discussions. Coast to Coast FM or something like that. It was back in the '90s. The poor guy wound up passing away, I think, at some point, late '90s, if I remember right. But Clyde Lewis revolt kind of molds his show around that guy's older show. But you guys, I think I've got to end it, man. I kind of struggling to stay in on this because I'm just so damn tired. But I'm gonna wind up probably. I'll probably play it some more tomorrow because tomorrow's one of my off days from working out, which means I get home earlier, and can kind of relax a little. But in any event, I think at some point we're gonna wind up beginning to build in the new rooms inside of this new wall. I need to kind of buy myself some time and wait for those stupid moisture pumps to take care of these little gaps in the wall, like that one right there, and we've got some massive gaps right here. But for the most part, those are the only, well, a little bit of a space over here too, but those are mainly the only ones. And I don't think those will take very long to pump out. But we got to get that done first, and then once I'm done with that, maybe then we might start uh, fleshing out the rooms and stuff inside of here. And I want to do that because I want to try to find a way to get rid of this stuff out here. I want to try to find an articulated way or articulate way to maybe do something where I'll put a butcher slash frozen foods room compartment, whatever, on each side of the entranceway, on the like upper 50% of the space, where the bottom 50% can be the rec area type of stuff, and do that for each gateway area, if you will. Because then at that point we'll just about double what we might be capable of out here. And plus too, it would make it a little more ubiquitous, because then at that point you don't have all of your colonists won't have to go all the way over here to this one place to butcher and pick up some meats or something out there in the freezer. They'll have an entryway kind of like that on each uh, you know compass thing. Whatever I'm trying to say, kind of like what I did uh, where I'm trying to make things ubiquitous with this whole circular theme type of thing. So anyway, I'm talking too much and I'm beginning to ramble. Let me go ahead and save. Do a save ski poo. And I will see you guys on the flip flop. Stay safe. Have a good night, man. Later.